Honestly, you guys, I've been asked so many times throughout the whole entire year to actually do such a video because most people do love these kind of videos. And in today's video, guys, I'll be doing a War Tycoon tier list based on every single vehicle that we have ourselves in the game, with, of course, drones or even usable things or stuff that's used to be in the game. And I hope that I actually included everything, and I will be ranking this whole entire list on the uses of these vehicles, how will they fare in the meta. Also, I'll be giving some points of how OG they are. And anyway, in this video, of course, I'll be doing a vehicle tier list. So first up, I would like to start with the ATV, with how useful it truly is. In terms of usefulness, I'm really gonna have to be putting it in around the D tier. It is as unfortunate as it is, but really the only thing that ATV is really useful for is just transporting you to bases from higher meta players. Other than this, it's not really special for anything like that whatsoever. And I guess I can erode it some points for being OG, but other than this, it just really doesn't serve a good purpose. Anyways, next up over here we have ourselves the Gurkha, and I am actually going to be ranking the Gurkha below the ATV as an F tier. I personally believe the Gurkha, it's a cool vehicle, it is really OG, but at the end of the day, it almost has no uses for it. The gunner is just super exposed, and its speed is just, it's very meh. The ATV is just overall better for serving the purpose of getting out of bases, and there's nothing really ever special that you guys are going to be using this for, so I guess that's why I'm going to be ranking it here. Anyway, next up on this list is where stuff actually starts to get quite good, and I'm going to be ranking the Boxer CRV. And honestly, man, the Boxer CRV has had a lot of changes in the recent years. And I gotta actually say that the Boxer definitely gonna be going in around either A tier or B tier. Personally, I'm gonna be probably placing it at like a high B tier, and the only reason why I say so is because it's very easy to get counter with missiles, and overall it just doesn't serve that much of a good purpose as a game pass. But really, I just wish the Boxer was better, but it's not really anything cool, nothing really to look out for, nothing really special, so that's why I'm gonna be ranking it in B tier. But B tier is still pretty good, it is usable, but it could be higher on the list. Anyway, next on this list, we have ourselves the BTR-80. Man, it is very sad, but in terms of usability, the BTR-80 absolutely sucks, man. I just wish the BTR-80 was better, but I'm gonna have to be ranking it maybe in C tier, if not D tier. Honestly, I could rank it slightly better than the ATV, but I honestly see more people using the ATV than the BTR. No matter, even if it has been receiving a buff recently, it just really doesn't serve a job done. But it is amphibious, and I guess amphibious is somewhat fine. You know what, fine, I'll put it in C tier, but I just really don't feel like the BTR-80 should be anywhere closer to the Boxer CRV. It's just not worth it at all. Anyway, next on the list is one of our fan favorite vehicles, which is going to be the freaking, what's it called? The Laser APC. Honestly, the Laser APC does have a few uses, and I actually do like the Laser APC. I'm gonna be ranking it in C tier. It just doesn't get to Boxer's level personally, I don't think, but it is a cool vehicle, and it's really OG vehicle which people do enjoy using. It's pretty good for overall being able to kill people underground, but other than this, it doesn't have any more uses. Anyway, next on the list, we have ourselves the Land Rover. Please add back the Land Rover. I don't know why the Land Rover has been deleted from the game. I really don't understand the reason behind it. I really don't think that they had any good reasons to actually be getting rid of the Land Rover. Please, developers, add it back. Okay, so next on the list we have ourselves the LAVAD, or known as the Lavad by most people. Honestly, I'm gonna be ranking it quite high on the list. Here's the thing with the Lavad. It's really good at being able to take care of stuff in the sky. It's really good at being able to take care of infantry, but it does have one very big weak side. It doesn't have that much health, and it's not really that good against tanks. However, it does serve its purpose in more other categories, and it is worth it. Probably the best one out of the garage vehicles, so I'm gonna be ranking it in A tier, but I would probably be giving it a low A if I had to make that choice. Anyway, next on the list we have ourselves the Katyusha. I mean, it's good at being able to counter tanks when they don't see you coming, or just being able to bomb bases from very far away, but the artillery system as of now, it needs a rework. Honestly, I could rank, in terms of usability, I'm probably gonna be ranking it even behind the ATV, because just not that useful, anything like that whatsoever, unless you're like very pro at the game. But I really do think that this vehicle needs a rework, so I'm actually gonna change this category to please deletes / rework. Yep, I think that will do. Like, I really hope that this vehicle is gonna be getting a rework. And oh, okay, what is happening over here? Alright, I'll just have it as please delete, but you guys know what I'm saying. The artilleries really need a rework, and they need to have a change. But in terms of usefulness, I would probably be putting it around here. Anyway, next up on this list, we have ourselves the Vietnam truck. And honestly, the Vietnam truck is pretty impressive in terms of its anti-air capabilities. But if you guys want to actually do well with this Vietnam truck, you do have to have very good strategies in terms of being able to camp behind the shields. But other than this, I'm probably gonna be ranking it slightly better than the BTR. Okay, fine. I'm gonna put it behind, but it's really close with the BTR-80 in terms of its usefulness. I feel like they did rework this slightly, but it just still doesn't serve a job, then it's not that good of a vehicle to actually use. However, on the other side, I am going to be ranking the freaking VCAC Mephisto. Do I rank it in front of the freaking Lavad? I'm thinking I should. Honestly, people have really been hating on me on the last garage vehicle where I went through which are the best vehicles in the garage. And honestly, the VCAC Mephisto really does serve the job then. It's just incredibly good at being able to do its job. It takes care of the tanks, it takes care of the sky, it's also good amphibious vehicle. Honestly, it's a really nice all-rounder and it pretty much counters almost everything in the game. You guys just have to be wary of your health, but really, I really do love this vehicle. I heavily recommend it. Anyway, next on the list, we have ourselves the Speedy Humvee. Here's the thing with Speedy Humvee. It doesn't have any firepower, but it does serve its job very well at being able to overall escape bases and get to places. So for that reason, it's very hard to rank it on this list because it doesn't have that much firepower, but realistically, I think I'm going to be ranking the Speedy Humvee somewhere around the Boxer section. It's the best at doing what it's made for, but other than this, there's no more special things about it. I really do love the Speedy Humvee. It's a really nice OG, so I think it should stay in beater. It's really nice. Anyway, on this list, next up we have ourselves the freaking Panzer S1. In terms of annoyance, I would give it the freaking S tier. In terms of usefulness, honestly, it's very counterable. I'm gonna probably put it at the top of C tier. I mean, okay, you know what? I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna put it at the back of B tier, maybe in front of the Speedy Humvee. But other than this, the Panzer is just really good at what it does. There's nothing more special about it, so I'm just gonna have it as B tier. I don't really know where to rank the Panzer. And once again, we have ourselves the Lowsat. The Lowsat, I really like the Lowsat because of its mechanic of being able to lock onto stuff incredibly quickly. But really, this is one of the most annoying vehicles in the game, and it's slightly better than the Panzer S1 in my personal opinion. So I'm gonna be ranking it in front of the Panzer, but Boxer still outclasses these. Oh yeah, the buggy. I completely forgot about the buggy. Honestly, the buggy, I'm probably gonna be ranking it as D tier, and the only reason why is because it's a good starter vehicle. You can get all bases easily. Its hitbox is also quite hard to hit, and it can carry oil barrels. It does well at the job that it could do. So I'm gonna be keeping it here. Anyway, the next vehicle over here, we have ourselves the HIMARS. Here's the thing. I'm gonna be putting the HIMARS actually on this list because the HIMARS has one viability, and that viability is the fact that the HIMARS has one very good strategy. So I'm actually gonna be ranking it at the top of do I put it at top of C tier? Fine, I'm gonna put it at top of C tier. The only thing it has going for it is once there are people camping on top of your garage, you guys could just spawn this in and kill them with the area damage. The Katyusha doesn't get the job done. Anyway, this vehicle, oh, the old Vietnam truck. Honestly, I would love to have it back because just having a selection of 2 Vietnam vehicles that we want back, honestly, I would love to have a selection of being able to use the Vietnam truck for transport reasons. I really did love the mechanic of it, but it also looked incredibly unique and cool. Okay, so next up over here, we have ourselves the JLTV, which is the improved JLTV. And honestly, the JLTV after the Javelin nerf, I'm gonna say it, it's actually not that good, but I'm definitely gonna be putting it somewhere around the Boxer. It's slightly worse than the Boxer because the Boxer does just have much more capabilities of being able to take down stuff like tanks. This used to be good at taking down tanks and just being able to see where your enemies are, but after the Javelin nerf, it just doesn't serve its purpose. It's not good enough. Anyway, once over here, we have ourselves the Humvee. Honestly, the Humvee is just worse than the Gurkha. Nothing special about it. I really wish that it would be revamped. I'm not gonna have it as please delete, but it's just not good. I don't like it at all. Anyway, once again, we have ourselves the old JLTV, and nothing special about it, man. It didn't serve a purpose back then in the day, and I wouldn't really want this back, so I don't really know what to put on this list. I'm gonna be having this as add back. Maybe they could do something with the old JLTV design, but really I don't see anything special about it. Maybe give it an operation for the people to want to get it, but really I don't know what to do with this. Anyway, this is where stuff is also a little interesting by bringing the Guardian into the mix. Honestly, the Guardian, I'm probably gonna be putting it at the whole back of Do I put it at back of B tier? That doesn't belong to be in there. Honestly, it's actually pretty good at taking down tanks, and it is very, very fast vehicle. Fine, I'm gonna put it in B tier, but it's gonna be at the back of B tier just because of its lack of health, and it's quite easy to get, and it is actually good at doing its job. So I'm actually gonna respect this vehicle. I like the Guardian personally. Alrighty, so now actually getting into the tanks. So here's the thing with the tanks. The M4 Sherman, in terms of usability, it is good at doing its job of being a starter tank, but realistically, it does not really get a job done. Where do I rank you? Oh, honestly, the Sherman, it's probably not gonna be able to freaking defeat any of these in a 1v1. It's just too slow. It doesn't get the job done, but it is fine at being a starter tank, so I'm gonna respect it for that. Anyway, next up we are going to be ranking this T-72. Alright, the T-72 on the other side is actually pretty good. It's a really nice upgrade from the M4 Sherman, and I really say that the T-72 should be having some kind of buff. In real life, it's much more powerful than it is in the game. So here's the thing. Where do I rank the T-72 on this list? Realistically, it could go in B tier, but it's also still not that good. Fine, I'm gonna put it at the top of C tier. It's nothing special. I don't really feel like it serves that much of a purpose. It's just better to work on these higher-ended tanks, personally. Anyway, next over here we have ourselves the Leopard. The Leopard, I really like it for the fact that it does have blowout panels, and the fact that it does have very good turn rate speed. Overall, the Leopard is actually pretty good, so I'm gonna be putting it behind the Boxer personally. I feel like the Leopard is just good at doing its job of being a fast vehicle that quickly takes down its enemies in the sky. That's kind of what I see the Leopard as of this current meta. Other than this, there's nothing really special about it, and I don't really know where to put it, honestly. Anyway, next on this list, I'm going to be ranking the M3 Bradley. Alright, the M3 Bradley is going to be once again another vehicle which is going to land its space in the A tier. If it hadn't got nerfed in the previous updates, I would honestly rank it as low S tier, but right now I'm going to be ranking the Bradley as an A tier, and the only reason why is because it's not as easy to actually spam it, because back then it was really good for spamming it constantly, but overall it does have a huge firepower, and you guys could honestly defeat any tank or any vehicle with this if you're skilled enough. Just gotta be wary of your health, but other than this, it just serves every purpose you guys would ever want. Anyway, next over here we have ourselves the Lowsat. The Lowsat is interesting. Honestly, do I put this thing in S tier? I feel like S tier, it doesn't belong in the S tier personally. I think I'm gonna be ranking it slightly behind the Bradley. I did used to think that this was the best vehicle in the game, but after its missiles and speed got nerfed, it doesn't serve its purpose that well anymore. Honestly, is it worse than the VCSC Mephisto? Probably not. Alright, I'm gonna be putting it slightly in front of VCSC Mephisto, but it's still really good. Anyway, next up, I'm going to be choosing the M1 Abrams. Honestly, man, I do not know where to put the M1 Abrams, man. Like, it used to be good back in the day, but after the more tanks have been introduced to the game, M1 Abrams just is not that good anymore. I feel like the health of it should be buffed, it should be able to use its third machine gun, and it should have the APS. Honestly, I'm gonna put it... where do I put the M1 Abrams, man? Alright, I'm gonna have it slightly behind the Boxer. I feel like the Boxer is still better, and the reason why I say so is because it's very good at anti-tank capabilities. Other than this, I feel like the M1 Abrams is not gonna go any higher on this list. Anyway, next over here is going to be the T14 Armada. Ooh, this is where stuff gets really interesting. I'm gonna actually put the T14 Armada at the top of, do I put it in top of B tier, or do I put it at the back of A tier? I could put it in the middle of A tier. Honestly, I feel like the T14, if you guys play it right, you could definitely defeat the likes of the Lowsat, but with the Bradley, I feel like it's a lot harder to actually defeat it. Its overall usefulness is good for actually taking down tanks, because this thing is literally a tank. Its health is one of the highest healths in the game, so, and it's also explosive gun. It's good for taking down infantry, but I feel like the Bradley is just slightly better. But do I put the T14 higher? I'm gonna keep it in A tier, but it could honestly go either way. You guys could rank it yourself wherever you want it. Anyway, next up we have ourselves the ADATs. Here's the thing with the ADATs, man. I could rank it high, but I'm also gonna be ranking it low. I feel like the freaking Patriot just gets the job better than the ADATs, and the ADATs doesn't have anything special going for it. It has one of the lowest health in the game for most of the vehicles, and it's just so easy to kill, man. Yeah, the ADATs, I'm honestly gonna be ranking it. Do I put it... I put it behind the T-72. I'll put it ahead of the T-72, but the ADAS is just so outclassed by the likes of the Pantsir and the, what's it called? The Patriot. Yeah, I'm not gonna be putting it any higher. The ADAS just really fallen off since the recent updates. Anyway, on the other side, we have ourselves something really, really good. Alright. T90 is probably going to be the first vehicle I'm going to be putting in S tier. Here is the thing, the T90 has amazing turn rate, it has the fastest reload of a cannon in the whole entire game. It's also really good for being able to counter planes because it's able to kind of get rid of every single missile. And if you guys are going into tank combat, the only thing you have to be wary of is to not circle your opponent with the T90. With this thing, you gotta play it very smart, and this thing definitely gets the job done at playing it very smart. Definitely gonna be going in S tier, but I'm thinking I should be making a higher tier than S tier. We're gonna see in the future. I don't know yet, but for now this is definitely gonna be going in S tier. Alright, so PL01. Honestly, man, the PL01, I'm gonna have it slightly above the T14 Armada. The reason why I say it's slightly above the T14 Armada is because it does have slightly greater speed in it. It has slightly better explosive machine gun in it. I did do a damage test and it's slightly better in terms of that, and it also has blowout panels. Overall, it outclasses the T14 just ever so slightly, but its downside is the health. It's not that high for a tank, but it's still good. I don't know if to rank it in front of the Bradley. I probably won't be ranking in front of the Bradley. The Bradley is just so good in terms of playing it tactically. Alrighty, so next up we have ourselves the mouse. Oh man, do I rank this thing in C tier? It does have good enough firepower to be able to deal with pretty much everything. That's the thing with the mouse. Alright, hold on, let me just stop this lag. Okay, here's the thing. The mouse is really good at being able to pretty much take care and defeat anything, but does it really serve its job? It's just so slow and it's just so easy to counter the mouse. I'm gonna be putting it slightly in... I'm gonna be putting it in over here. Mouse is just not good. Like, its speed is what really drags it down. It's not good for anti-air. It's just good brute force. It's okay. It's not really that good, but I feel like it could be defeated by any of these vehicles if the opponent plays it smart. With a mouse, there's no really that many strategies going for it. Anyway, next up over here on this list, we are going to be having the Abrams X. Alright, so the Abrams X is where stuff does get very spicy. I'm gonna be putting the Abrams X as S tier despite the Javelin being nerfed because the Abrams X has so many good things going for it. So let me actually explain you guys what's so cool about the Abrams X and why I believe it to be going so high. Well, here's the thing, it's the Abrams X, we all know it, explosive machine gun is powerful, its XM 360 turret is also incredibly powerful, it has one of the highest health in the game out of any tank, the Javelin is good as like a grenade that deals damage in close range, but honestly, it doesn't serve its purpose as well anymore. The Abrams X used to be better for its terrain awareness, so for the sake of that, I'm actually gonna be adding a new category of God tier for the higher ended vehicles. Just give me a second. Alright, so here I am. I'm actually back after adding a brand new tier, which is going to be God tier, and it's only gonna be going for these vehicles which are just so insanely overpowered, and you guys already know where I'm heading. The BMPT Terminator is definitely going to be going in this category, man. There is no debate about that one. Oh my god, bro. The Terminator is just so OP. It has the highest amount of DPS in the game out of any vehicle, really. It's able to shred stuff on the ground in a second, able to shred stuff in the sky, and all you have to do is just have decent knowledge about the wire-guided missiles, man. This thing is just the definition of overpowered. Oh man, I don't know where else to put this. It's just so good. Anyway, next over here we are going to be moving into the helicopters, and man, I do love myself the helicopters. Lakota, honestly, the Lakota, I'm gonna be ranking it probably at the top of D tier. It's just really good at doing its job. It can transport oil barrels and etc. So it's just, that's all it's good for. It's a good starter vehicle, so I'm gonna be keeping it in D tier. Anyway, next over here, let me just find myself the beginner helicopters. Next up we have the Huey. Okay. And the Huey, honestly, I'm gonna be having it as please delete. I'm sorry guys, but this vehicle needs a rework. It's just terrible in every single way. Just, if you have any ways to tell me that the Huey is broken or even good whatsoever, then tell me in the comment section. It needs a rework. Please delete this. Okay, so once again we have ourselves the Black Hawk. Just as bad as the Huey, nothing special about it. A transport vehicle for infantry. Nothing special about it. No one really uses it for anything, and I really don't know where to put this. Anyway, once again, next up we have ourselves the Super Stallion, where on the other hand, the Super Stallion is actually good. It is good in transportation. It can tank up to almost 3 cannon shells. Honestly, it doesn't defeat any of these vehicles in a 1v1, but in terms of just its usefulness, I'm gonna be putting it at the back of C tier. It's just good transport vehicle, but the transport doesn't get you any further in War Tycoon. Nothing special about it once again. Okay, the Toycopter. Oh my god, bro. We need the Toycopter as a freaking Easter egg, man. I don't know why the Toycopter is not an Easter egg at like Rebirth 15 or something. Like, it's just such a cool opportunity missed out by the developers. Please add the Toycopter back, man. It was so fun to use it. It's just such a stupid meme. Oh man, I do love the Toycopter. Alrighty, next up over here we have ourselves the Little Bird. Oh, the Little Bird. Alright, if we were back in the older meta, I would honestly put the Little Bird in S tier, but after it got nerfed, thanks to me by the way, okay, I'm kidding, it's not that good anymore. Honestly, it does get countered by almost all of these vehicles that are in A tier. I could put it maybe at the front of B tier. I'd say it could be the Boxer, but the Boxer, if there's a good player using it, much like any of these vehicles that are in B tier, almost any of these vehicles on this list could really beat the Little Bird, so nothing special about it anymore. The only thing it had going for it was just such good firepower, but other than that, it also had an insane hitbox. It was just so hard to hit. It was just a stupid mosquito, but at this point, this thing is more like an annoying mosquito rather than an actual threat. Back then, it was an actual threat, so for now, I'm just gonna be putting in a B tier. Nothing special, but it's fine. Alright, so next up we have ourselves the AH-60 for Apache. Honestly, it's okay. I'm gonna be putting the Apache... Honestly, as sad as it is to say, the Apache is not gonna be going higher on this list. I'm gonna be putting it maybe in front of the Sherman and the gun truck. Where do I put this boy? Okay, I'll put it ahead of the Mouse, but other than this, I don't see the Apache taking any better spot, and the reason why I say so is because the overall, its cannon, it does not have the best travel time. Its missiles pretty much tickle almost every vehicle, and its rockets, nobody really uses this vehicle. I wish the Apache was better, but it doesn't really have anything that stands out about it. It's just an OG vehicle, nothing more special about it. But on the other side, we have ourselves the Invictus, which I am going to be ranking ahead of the Little Bird. It does have instant travel time bullets, almost instant travel time bullets. It does have good area damage, 8 lock-on missiles. It's pretty much just a slightly better Eurocopter, but it is able to counter the Little Bird now. It's just as much of a mosquito as the Little Bird, to be totally honest with you. So I'm gonna be ranking it at the top of B tier, but other than this, nothing special really. Anyway, the AH-1Z on the other side, once again, this vehicle is actually really good. 2 of its lock-on missiles do some huge damage. It's also really good in terms of being able to kill infantry, and it is good at being able to overall beat people in air PvP. So, do I put this ahead of the Invictus? Honestly, I feel like the Invictus is better because it's more of a mosquito, and the AH-1Z Viper does not have, once again, anything that much going for it. Its main cannon is really good because it does have armor pierce, but again, I don't see that many people using it, so I'm gonna be probably keeping it in B tier. Helicopters are really good, they are really underrated, but I cannot place these 3 helicopters anywhere higher on this list. I feel like every one of these vehicles in A tier, S tier, and God tier, they just outclass them so much. But on the other side, we have ourselves the Mi-28 Havoc. So here's the thing, I'm gonna be ranking the Mi-28 Havoc in S tier because it does have one of the highest, if not the highest, lock-on range in the whole entire game. Along with this, it can just sit up in the air and just throw freaking missiles at you and just constantly mow you down, and the damage of this thing is just absolutely overpowered. Honestly, I'm gonna be putting it above the T90, but probably not above the Abrams X. Most good Abrams X users will be able to counter this thing, and I could rank it in front of the Abrams X, but really, do I see it used more in the meta than the Abrams X? Honestly, I don't think so. So I'm gonna be ranking it slightly below the Abrams X, but the T90, it's slightly better than the T90 in my opinion. Again, every single vehicle has its personal use, but this one, it's not that special. Anyway, on the other side, we have ourselves the Alligator, and this is where the helicopters do get interesting. I'm going to be placing the Alligator in A tier. I'll situate it somewhere in A tier in just a second, but the Alligator on the other side is actually really good. I was wrong recently by ranking it as one of the worst helicopters in the game, but this thing has some of the best maneuverability in the whole entire game. Its armor-piercing bullets are also really good. It also does have rapid rapid fire in terms of being able to shoot down people with its barrage rockets, but other than this, it's just so good for air-to-air or even being able to counter tanks. Like, this thing, it's actually really good. It's just an improvement of the little bird, and this one is actually not that annoying because it does give people a chance. So honestly, I'm probably gonna be placing the alligator somewhere, where do I put this thing? I'll put it instead in front of the PL01. Personally, I don't think it's gonna be going higher than the Bradley, but it is definitely gonna be up there. I really do love the alligator, and I was wrong about it previously. I do apologize for all the people who did get insulted by me saying that it's not that good. Anyway, the Eurocopter Tiger. Honestly, I do really love the Eurocopter Tiger. It is a very big of an OG vehicle, but honestly, once again, does not serve that much of a purpose, man. I'm actually gonna be ranking the Eurocopter Tiger behind the... Do I rank it behind the little bird? This is where stuff gets really hard. No, I'm not ranking it. Honestly, I feel like the Eurocopter Tiger, it does have really good lock-on missiles at being able to do well in air-to-air, but I just don't see it used as more. These 3 helicopters are just used so much more, and based on the meta, the Eurocopter also has incredibly bad lock-on range as well. I just don't like the Euro. Maybe I'm downplaying it a little bit, but I just don't feel like that is that good. Anyway, on the other side, we have ourselves the Mi-24 Hind. Back in 2023, I would be ranking it in S tier, but right now, as sad as it is, I'm going to be having to place it behind the little bird. I'm sorry. The reason why I say the Mi-24 Hind is not that good anymore is because its simple weaponry does not fare that well in this meta. The reason why I say so is because it does have incredibly bad travel time. Its damage was also nerfed multiple times. Its lock-on missiles are some of the weakest in the game, and really, it does have a gigantic hitbox that is so easy to get hit down by tanks or even helicopters. It does not fare well in air-to-air combat, doesn't fare well in ground combat. The only thing it's really good for is raiding bases, and it could even get countered by infantry most of the time if they do play it smartly. It's just such a downfall, but the Mi-24 Hind is not going to be going any higher. I'm sorry. Anyway, on the other side, we have ourselves the Raider X. And the Raider X, as stupid as this may sound, I'm going to be placing it in S tier. But do hear me out. It does have almost instant travel time with its main cannon. Its rockets are some of the... Actually, its rockets are the strongest rockets in the game. And the armament that it's got for its rockets could even destroy up to 4,000 health and even up to 2,000... and even up to 2 tanks. Like, this thing is absolutely crazy, not to add its lock-on missiles are also just as crazy, and its maneuverability and speed is up there with the helicopters. This is the fastest helicopter in the game, but it also has some of the best agility in the game. Oh man, the Raider X. I'm gonna be ranking it above the Mi-28. I did tell you guys it's better than the Mi-28. I still keep this opinion. Until they nerf it, I don't see this thing going any lower on this list. I might do an update video, but really, this thing is just so good, man. Alrighty, so now moving into planes. The P-21 Mustang. Oh man, I don't know where to put you. Here's the thing. This thing is actually really good at being able to destroy planes in air-to-air combat, and the reason why I say so is because of one very funny and interesting fact. It has some of the best trend rate in the whole entire game. But honestly, the P-21 could also get very much countered by missiles, and that's why I'm probably gonna be keeping it. Where do I put this? I'm gonna be putting it... I'm gonna be putting it behind the mouse. I don't feel like the P-21 is that good, but it does serve a good job as being the starter plane. Honestly, I like the P-21, but I cannot rank it any higher. On the other side, the Ju-87 Stuka, I'm going to be ranking it in B tier. Here's the thing, why do I actually put the Stuka? The reason I'm gonna be ranking it in B tier is because it does have one very powerful use of it having some of the best damage in the game. Its bomb is literally able to destroy a mouse. So if you guys do aim the bomb perfectly, you could pretty much destroy anything in the game, and the area damage of this does also not fall off. So honestly, in terms of its uses, I'm gonna be putting it somewhere, where'd I put it? I'm gonna personally put it in front of the M1 Abrams. Do I do it? Honestly, alright, fine, I'm gonna put it behind the Patriot and the Panzer. Honestly, this thing is really good, but it just is pretty easy to counter, so you guys have to bear with me here. But it's still a good vehicle for the ones who do use it. No disrespect to you, it's actually really good. Anyway, on the other side, another one of our planes is going to be the Spitfire. Honestly, I could rank the Spitfire very high on this list, and honestly, as stupid as this may sound, I'm going to be putting it at the top of B tier. The reason why I say so is because this vehicle has the highest turn rate in the whole entire game. Its own machine guns are also just incredibly powerful at being able to both take down infantry, both being able to take down tanks, or even being able to outplay more of the modern jets. This thing is just a really good counter, but it can get countered by missiles once again. But overall, this thing is a beast. Do love to see it. Anyway, MiG. Oh, where did I put the MiG? As sad as it is, the MiG has really fallen off. I'm sorry guys, but I'm probably gonna be putting the MiG... I'm gonna put it behind the T-72. It has one of the worst turn rate in the whole entire game in terms of planes. Its 4 lock-on missiles don't really do that much. Its speed is mech. And the only thing that it has going for it is machine gun is pretty good in terms of damage, but its area damage is also not good. Nothing special really. I don't want to rank it any higher. Once again, another vehicle which I wish I could rank higher. I'm going to be ranking the A-10 Warthog at the back of C tier. Yeah. As sad as it is, I'm going to be ranking it there. The reason why I say so, the A-10 Warthog was originally designed for being a tank buster, but it doesn't serve the job. For what reason? Actually, you know what? Developers, if you're watching this video, please tell me, for what reason does the A-10 Warthog have freaking lock-on missiles for the air and not ground if this is a literal tank buster? This is what this thing is made for, and it's just not good. The bombs are mech, the turn rate of it is mech, it's such a giant hitbox to hit by tanks, its speed is bad, it's just... I wish I could rank it higher. I love the A-10 Warthog, but War Tycoon, you really downplayed this vehicle. I wish it was better, but it's just really not. Anyway, the B-29 Super Fortress on the other side is one of the most annoying vehicles in the game, but it is an easy hitbox to shoot down, so honestly, I'm gonna be ranking it maybe... I'll rank it here. I'll rank it slightly lower than the MiG. The MiG can counter it, but this thing, if you guys do play it smart and be very annoying with your AI missiles, then you guys could get the job done. It's just really a shame that they actually nerfed the B-29 bomber. I remember when it was first released, this thing used to be a beast because its AI missiles were able to pretty much lock onto anything and any player, but now it just doesn't get the job done. I'm sorry guys, it does have high and chunky health, but it's just so easy to shoot down, man. Alrighty, so next up we are going to be picking the V-22 Osprey. Where did I put the V-22 Osprey? This thing has received a buff, and this thing, honestly, in good hands, it can be even up to A tier. And honestly, I'm gonna be placing it in A tier, probably gonna have it around here. The reason why I say that the V-22 Osprey is so good, once again, I was wrong about it, but this vehicle is actually incredibly good because of its brand new system in order to be able to actually control its gun as a, as a person who's also driving this vehicle. This gun that it has is actually incredibly powerful. It could even counter a lot of vehicles, and it's just really fast as well. Surprisingly, it's just really good vehicle overall, and it does have very good health, so it can tank a tank hit, and it can also just sit in the sky and just counter tanks or even other vehicles this way. Not to add, this thing can literally do backflips, allowing it to pretty much shred any opponent from the 360 angles. Really do love the V-22 Osprey, so I'm gonna be ranking it as A tier. Alrighty, so the F-16 Falcon, oh man. So here's the thing with the F-16 Falcon. I'm gonna be ranking it very high on this list. I'm probably gonna be ranking it slightly behind the Alligator. The F-16 has one incredibly good thing going for it. It has one of the best 10 rates in the whole entire game. It's also incredibly hard hitbox to hit, but it's also incredibly good at doing barrels. I feel like it has the fastest barrels in the whole entire game. I don't know if you guys also noticed this, but it's just overall really good for air-to-air combat. It's just so unpredictable vehicle to deal with. Really do love this, and I'm gonna be ranking it this high. I really do love the F-16 Falcon, one of my favorite. On the other side, we have ourselves the F-4 Phantom. Once again, one of the more downplayed vehicles. Its 10 rate is bad. It's not that good with its lock-on missiles. They are universal, so I'll give them points for that, and its bombs are a very unique mechanic of being able to just kill stuff with fire. So personally, I'm gonna be ranking the F-4 Phantom probably in front of the MiG, but I'm still not gonna be having it higher than any of these other two vehicles. Personally, I really like this vehicle, but it does have many downsides, and it's just not that good as a plane or even a fighter jet whatsoever. Anyway, once again, another vehicle which is actually downplayed, as sad as it is. I'm gonna be ranking the F-14 Tomcat probably in B tier, but it's probably gonna stay at the far back end of B tier. Honestly, Yeah, there's nothing that special going for the F-14. Its 10 rate is not that good. It's just a gigantic hitbox to hit. However, it does have one powerful strength. Its local missiles are just incredibly powerful. So if you guys do play it right with the F-14, it's really gonna get the job done. But you do have to be wary of the turning speed that it does actually have. So other than this, I'm gonna be ranking this vehicle quite high. I really do like this vehicle, so let me see where I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna be probably putting it... I'm gonna be putting it at the top of B tier. Honestly, the F-14 is good, but it does get outplayed by other vehicles on the previous and higher list. Anyway, once again, the Eurofighter Typhoon. Ooh, okay. So this is where stuff gets really interesting. I'm gonna be putting the Eurofighter Typhoon at the top of... did I put it at the top of A tier? Yeah, I'm putting it at the top of A tier. This thing can hit hard. It has some of the best turn rate in the whole entire game. It does have missiles that are designed for different purposes, such as being able to take care of stuff in the ground, but also being able to take care of stuff that's also in the sky. Really do love the Eurofighter personally, man. Like, it's just really good for being able to take down anything, but I'm not gonna quite give it S tier. I feel like it does get outplayed by these two helicopters, and the reason why I rank many helicopters above planes is because the helicopters have better maneuverability, and the plane's turning speed really downplays them. Anyway, once again, another vehicle on this list, which I'm gonna be putting personally ahead of the Eurofighter, I'm gonna be adding the F-18 Hornet. So the F-18 Hornet is actually based on being able to be kind of like a support Navy vehicle, but it is a really good plane, and the reason I'm going to be ranking it ahead of the Eurofighter is because its 4 local missiles are just so incredibly powerful at being able to take down planes in the sky, but not to add, it does have bombs which do hit incredibly hard, and its main cannon actually does the best damage out of any plane in the whole entire game. Funny enough, the DPS of this thing is just crazy, but you guys do have to be wary of your slightly slower turning speed if you are going to be fighting the Eurofighter Typhoon. But overall, I believe it to have slightly better versatility than the Eurofighter, but they could both really go either way. I rank this one to be extreme difficulty beating the freaking Eurofighter. Alrighty, so once again, the Harrier Jump Jet. Why do I rank the Harrier Jump Jet? Honestly, I like the Harrier. I feel like it's just really good because of its VTOL mode to be able to outplay planes with the VTOL that it has. This is just such a good feature of being able to outplay planes. And another thing which I would like to talk about with the Harrier is its 4 local missiles are just so incredibly powerful. If you guys do bait a person's flares with the first one missile and then just shoot them with the other 3 and finish them off with the cannon, most of the time it's really gonna get the job done. So honestly, I'm gonna be ranking it slightly behind the Alligator, but I could honestly go either way. I like all of these vehicles on A tier, so it's really hard to decide which one is actually the best out of all of them. Anyway, the one last plane on this list which we have ourselves is going to be the F-35 Lightning. Man, the F-35, you guys already know where I'm gonna be putting it. It's going to be obviously going in God tier. Why would I put the F-35 anywhere else? And by the way, I'm going to be ranking the Terminator slightly above the F-35 Lightning for one very interesting reason. This thing is just able to counter it. It's just OP in every single way. Once you are able to pretty much get the F-35 to get slightly low on you, the F-35 will get countered by the Terminator. And another thing which I would like to talk about is the F-35 is just so incredibly annoying. It can take down infantry, it can take down tanks. You guys already know why it's going in God tier. It does counter the Abrams X. As sad as it is, the Abrams X used to be on a similar level as the F-35, but as the updates came and the F-35 became harder to hit, it does beat the Abrams X, so I'm gonna be ranking it in God tier, but honestly could once again go either way with the Terminator. We all know why the F-35 is up there. We know why it's above S tier. Okay, so now moving into the AC-130. This thing does have some interesting uses, and honestly, I could rank the AC-130 kind of high, but it is very easily to get countered by a lot of vehicles. If you guys do have unpredictable attacks with it, then it is actually really good, because if the opponent doesn't see the AC-130 coming, then it's really easy to take down pretty much any opponent that's on the ground with a tank, or even any opponent that's on the ground as an infantry. Honestly, I could rank this in A tier. Honestly, it does get countered by all of these vehicles on this tier though. Maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna be putting it slightly ahead of the V-22 Osprey personally, but it does get countered by all these other vehicles on this list, even anything really, but as long as you guys do play it smart with the AC-130, you should most of the time have yourself the win. Okay, the DeLorean is just really cool, the DeLorean, nothing special about it, I just have to put it somewhere on this list. Honestly, it's good at transportation reasons, but it does not have anything else really going for it. I don't know where to put the DeLorean. Once again, this is an older version of a vehicle which was removed in War Tycoon. Once again, I would like to have this thing back, but I don't have much to say because I'm not that big of an OG to actually talk about this vehicle, so once again, I'm gonna be ranking it where I'm ranking it. Anyway, now we are going to be moving ourselves into the boats. Okay, so the boats are actually a very interesting topic to talk about. The jet ski is actually good at dealing with what it does. It's good at being able to get out of bases, and I don't see any other reason why it should be higher on this list. I'm gonna be putting it ahead of the ATV, but not ahead of the Lakota. I feel like this is better for getting out of bases than the ATV, but the Lakota outclasses it because it's able to fly. Honestly, it could really go either way, but the jet ski is actually pretty good at what it does. The rib, honestly, please delete this thing. It's cool, it does have a cool design, but nothing special about it. Nobody really cares about the rib, never saw anybody use it, it's just terrible. Okay, so once again we have ourselves the Cirque. Honestly, I'm gonna be putting the Cirque in F tier slightly ahead of maybe these vehicles, but honestly, the Cirque has nothing going for it. Once again, it can transport oil barrels, nobody really cares about that. The Vietnam Riverboat is going to be following the same destiny as does the Cirque. The Cirque is slightly better, but the Vietnam Riverboat, they're just terrible, nothing special about them. Like, the best vehicle in the freaking water area that they have themselves is going to be the jet ski. I don't know what's wrong with these vehicles, they really do need some kind of buff. Please allow us to control their guns, developers. Like, we're not going to be having people driving around with us. Anyway, on the other side where stuff gets good is the Fair Mile. Honestly, the Fair Mile it used to be better than it is right now. I'm going to be personally ranking it somewhere around here in the middle of C tier. And the Fair Mile did get nerfed before. Its damage is just not that good anymore. And you guys have to be in a very specific place in order to actually be able to play well with this. Like, the Fair Mile, it used to be better. Its damage made up for its very bad versatilities, but after it got nerfed, it's just not that good anymore. Once again, another vehicle over here we have ourselves, which used to be good before, but it has been nerfed to the ground so many times. The USS Douglas. It's honestly still good, but I really don't know where I'm gonna be putting it in I'm gonna be putting in B tier. I'd roughly put it somewhere in the middle of B tier. It is able to counter tanks, but you guys have to be very smart with it, and you guys do have to be playing a lot behind the islands, which there's not even a lot of these islands, and really the only thing that this has going for it is its brute force. Anyway, once again, another vehicle which is a little bit of a disappointment, but at the same time it's not. This thing has never actually got its time to truly shine. I'm actually gonna be putting it in front of the USS Douglas, and the only reason I'm gonna be doing this is because it is able to pretty much counter almost any boat in the game, and honestly I'm gonna be ranking it as the second best boat in the game, and the only reason that I'm not gonna be ranking it as first is because it never really got the time to actually shine as a vehicle because there's not enough boats in the game. Maybe once they do add more boats in the game, that this thing would become much more useful once the new map comes out, but as of now, nothing really special about the PR. It is able to counter almost any boat in the game, except for the PGO2. I'm actually going to be ranking the PGO2 in A tier. As crazy as this may sound, I'm gonna be ranking it maybe somewhere in the middle of A tier. The reason why is because this thing has excellent speed, it's able to counter missiles with smoke, it has some good health, and overall its cram, or whatever its main gun is actually called, is really good for being able to take out stuff in the sky. If you guys have seen my previous gameplays from like a month ago when I was using this thing, I was absolutely cooking. I really do love this vehicle, and it is also able to counter the torpedoes because of how fast it's able to shoot. Just remember to keep your distance once you're fighting your opponents and always stay out the way. That's kind of the way to go with this. You guys gotta chip down their health, but it's really good. Okay, so now on the other side we have ourselves the drones. Honestly, all these 4 drones I absolutely use as the gunner drone. I believe this is going to be the spy drone, the grenade drone, and multi-rocket drone. I don't know the name of these drones, honestly. I feel like that's all the names, but honestly, I really want all of these drones to be deleted because all of these drones that we have in the game right now, they need a rework. The way that they are right now is just... it's so bad. I really do not like these drones, and if the developers want to actually add some drones to the game and actually make them good, they really have to be working differently on them, because these drones are such old drones from the... it's not worth using them. Nobody uses the drones. It's so easy to counter it. But on the other side, a destroyer drone, I'm gonna be ranking it maybe at the front of C tier. The only reason why I say this is because it is pretty annoying nuisance to actually deal with once they do get a chance to fight you, but again, it's just so easy to counter, and the only reason I'm gonna be putting it somewhat high is because it's a game pass. Anyway, the suitcase drone, honestly, it's not really a vehicle, but as a player usage item, I'm gonna be ranking it in B tier because it can have some uses of being able to take down infantry, but you guys gotta play very smart because you are exposed once you do start to control this. So once you do start to control this, you got to be very fast. Once again, the same thing goes for the RC car. Personally, I believe the drone to be slightly better than the RC car, but other than this is our completed list. Personally, I believe that this list is actually very fair. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this list. I personally feel like I ranked it very well in terms of meta and the usages of all of these vehicles, but realistically, some of these, like the Mi-24 Hind, we really wish that it was higher, but some of these vehicles really do need a rework. Some of these need to be deleted or just taken out the game, or even changed. Like, these are terrible, man. Please change these vehicles. Anyway, let me know what our tier list you would like to see next. Would you like me, guys, to dedicate like a tier list to snipers, maybe assault rifles, maybe types of players or strategies? Let me know what you think. Anyway, this is one of my first sort of videos doing them for over, I believe this video is gonna be like 40 minutes long, so let me know if you'd like to see more longer videos just like this. I really do love and I enjoy making videos like this, but it is kind of hard to record. I literally had to break a sweat making this. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all my channel members.